Yell at the kids.
That's right. Had to get one last hurrah in
Sure.
already.
Oh, it'll
Bummer.
it'll get itself
This
up. You
unicorn
just got to
is
give it a
off.
few minutes so it. Oh, there it goes again.
It's the mist. I blame
Missed.
it. The 4D dimensional mist
How's
is
it
coming.
going, everyone?
Reconnecting. Okay, there we go. Now we're back.
Connecting?
Okay. We got Digger Dan.
Is it connecting this time?
Verse Sullivan. It's reconnecting.
We're reconnecting. Oh, nope, it's
Okay.
connecting. All
We're
right.
live.
All right, let's see if it keeps
Stay
reconnecting.
that way.
We live out in the
Hi,
sticks.
Ted.
I know
Hi, everybody.
I say this every single live stream that we live deep, far out in the wilderness of the sticks, and
Yeah.
we don't have regular internet like everybody else, and it's it's a pain in the butt to keep everything going. So,
Yep, we detest to spend $100 for fine Southern
fine,
cable.
fine Southern
Quality
cable, high quality
connection.
connections.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Me,
I'm sipping on my pumpkin.
okay. I guess I'm going first tonight. Okay. I know I said
Hey, George.
a couple of weeks ago we were going to be live last weekend, but we couldn't go live last weekend because we had a birthday party and the planets didn't align. So
Yep.
we're doing it now. And
Thank you,
Harshman Hill.
for better wireless connection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro. Boom.
Appreciate it.
Fist bump.
I said a couple of weeks ago we were going to do that this last weekend, but we couldn't because of a birthday party. It was our littlest, her birthday party was that weekend, and we couldn't do it. So like I said, I was going to do was go through a list of prepper topics that we can cover, and you guys and gals may or may not like some of this stuff, and you can use it or not. And but there are people out there that are new to prepping or have been doing it a while and just needed a reminder. It's one of those kind of things. And it's not a boring list. It's actually a very thorough list of
Very
stuff.
thorough.
Very, very thorough. And I don't even know which one that I would want to start with first.
Man, this decision is tough.
I want to start off.
Yeah.
I've got hundreds of these, and I can go on forever on these, but I think I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to go off of that. And it's one I've mentioned several times. It's about making lists. And it's the first one on my list is making lists.
Talking about Paulo.
The first one on my list is making lists. And I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's just like you're making a shopping list to go to the grocery store. It's like me and the wife sitting down before we leave the house. We've got a long journey. It's a long ride into town, and we don't want to
into Mordor.
We don't want to get all the way there and then decide we forgot, well, or realize we forgot something. And it's kind of like that. Okay. It's so simple. It's such a simple thing that, you have to make a list. Like, don't forget to get more trash bags, or don't forget to get more of, what were some of the silly items that we were kind of writing down today? Tissues. Thermometers, just random stuff. We were just kind of thinking of, is there anything else we could probably use? Well, we probably should get one of those or one of these. Well, you don't want to make that trip several miles out and not have your list. And that also goes with, you don't want to be stuck in a situation where, you're in flip side of, or you're in upside down world, for example, everything's just flipped the switch on you and you've gone straight into hardcore version of pandemic, because someone could take the reins. And it goes back to so many things. If other folks had their way, you could have a horrible, very bad day. You could have a horrible life in the U.S. just by some very mild changes to your everyday life. And I know a lot of you have seen that just from this pandemic. You've seen where we've gone from, okay, well, folks wear masks. And it went from that to, everything's closed. It went from that to you can't work out anymore. It went from that to, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, and so many other things. They're closing things down, shutting things down. Businesses are going out of people are going out of business and all this sort of stuff. Long list and stockpiles of stuff just being taken off the shelves, and you can't find anything
Chipper.
anymore. So it's just like that situation where I don't want to drive all the way into town and realize I forgot something. Also, I don't want to be stuck in the middle of a crazy type of event where I don't have
Mhm.
all the stuff that I need. So that's where lists come in. You have to really analyze everything that you have, and you really have to look at all the different uses for those items. You have to figure out if it it's just like when you're building a bug out bag for the very first time. If the item you're putting in that bug out bag doesn't have at least two uses, it's probably useless. You have to come up with
I'm grateful.
you have to focus on lightweight and having many different uses for an item versus just one use for that item. And you don't want something like that in your bag. It's just one use, but it depends on what that use is. It has to be um, a very a very high rated item that you have to have in there. Like, for example, a firearm or ammunition. That would be a good example of an item that you just can't justify getting rid of. Am I right? So there's items like a weapon, a knife, or something like that. Things have to have multiple uses if they're going to be oddball ends. So you kind of have to go around your house and realize, well, how much food do I have, and how much of this do I have, and how much of that do I have? And it goes with medical supplies and so on and so forth, and how many medical needs you have. If there's the need for Tylenol, if you've got small children and there's a possibility you could need more Tylenol for children and things like that. You have to think about these things now and before it's super too late, because now we're at the point where um, these little bitty items, I know a lot of you out there I talk to shop at Walmart and places like that. That's not a place we really go to anymore. We don't really do the Walmart thing
We don't
anymore.
do the cattle herding.
We don't do it anymore. It's only because we only go there if it's a specialty item and we can't find it anywhere else. It's the only reason why we would go there. Like,
Yeah.
some cases, there are some cases where you're looking for a specialty item, but now most times Walmart doesn't even have those specialty items anymore. You pretty much have to go find those weird things online. You can't find them at places like that. And um, but pretty soon places like that won't be able to hold up. That goes back to the just in time system. And another example of that I learned today from other pharmacy locations and places like that, like Walgreens and all these other places, Publix and yada yada yada, they have gone with this new system. It's not the original just in time system. It's a new system. John
John
Moko,
Moko,
thank
thank you,
you.
buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The just-in-time system, where I know I've said this a
Hello, Hoover.
bajillion times here on the channel, what just-in-time systems mean. Where basically if you go to the store and you pick up a box, or we'll do toilet paper or something like that. Now let's do like something pretty baby formula. Okay, we'll do something extremely. That's something that you should have. If you have a small baby, you're going to want to have formula. And that's another thing. It's very expensive. A lot of folks get on WIC just to cover the cost of baby formula. But that is
Mhm.
another good example of something you could run out of that's going to be crucial or vital to survival for your small child. And keep that in mind. I know a lot of folks out there will say, well,
Backwoods.
you've got small kids, they're a burden and blah blah. Small kids are not a burden. It's something that you have to do. We still have to raise our children. It does not matter. You cannot look at that and it's like, well, you shouldn't have kids. Well, then you shouldn't be living. You know what I mean? If you're just
Yeah.
going to shut the doors on life, you still have to proceed with life, okay? And you still have to be. You can be a prepper, but you can still live at the same time.
I still thought that old man on that Doomsday Prepper was a complete pedo weirdo, where he's like, I'll take your children, but I won't take you.
That's
It's your
so.
choice.
That's the art dude, the guy that
Yes,
had the
with that
arc.
bus or something
That was like a
I
bus
don't know, man.
underground or
That
something.
was just weird.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you
he was
doing?
very picky about the people who came to his art.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
He'll take the kids, but he won't take the
It's
adults. I'm
crazy.
like, you ain't right.
The point of the formula thing is that, for example, if you go to a grocery store or Walmart or someplace and you buy a container of formula, for example, it rings through there and
Hey,
it
Ashton.
goes beep and it basically will go through the system as well. We've got one off the shelf. That's one that needs to go to the store. So they don't have it sitting in the back. It's got to go on a truck from the truckers to the store back to the shelf again. So that's how that just in time system works. But now there's a new thing now because of this pandemic, that kind of falls into the whole great reset category of things where they wanted to reset everything and do this. Well, we finally realized we don't need as many workers as we used to have. Now that they're all working from home, well, we don't need Bill anymore. We don't need Jim. We don't need this guy. You know what I mean? So they finally they're doing this little. Well, we finally figured out now. There's 300 employees. We don't even need anymore. We'll just go ahead and get rid of them real quick. And you know what? We're going to condense our facility, change the name of it, and just go with 150 employees. That stuff happens all the time, and it's happening now during this pandemic stuff. And that goes with the new systems that they're coming up with so that they can make sure the just in time system doesn't fail. So now there's a just in time system for the just in time system that's going in effect. And you'll see it. You'll start seeing more of it, and you'll be like, hey, I think I remember BA saying something about that. He caught on to it first. But they've got new systems in
Hey,
place.
Beth.
Basically,
Clint Eastwood.
it's tracking other stuff, and it can ring up an item. Baby formula. Check this out. This will blow your freaking mind. You'll ring up baby formula, and it'll say item cannot be sold because they're about to be out of it in the store. So it just puts a halt on it, and it's only people in super dire need for it are the ones that are going to get it. So it depends on how bad do you need it, kind of thing. Well, Mr. BA, you've already bought 4 of these this month. You cannot buy another one. You're only limited 4 items. Russia did that. If I recall correctly, Russia did that with food. They did that with food. Well,
Yeah.
we're sorry, uh, Mr. Jim, but you cannot purchase another Mr. Jim. You cannot purchase another loaf of bread today. I'm
Too
sorry.
much.
You cannot purchase another loaf. You've already purchased 4 loaves of bread this month. You can't purchase another one. We're sorry, but you're cut off. It's going to start taking effect. I guarantee it. Things like if this situation gets any worse, I'm telling you, just keep your eyes open because this stuff is happening all the time. And this goes back to my original topic: make a list. Figure out what it is you're going to need now and start going through it. And that was my first one. Just making a list. Uh, you don't want to drive all the way to the store without your list. All right. Now, well, I could do, might skip a few of these. I would do uh, getting rid of, making room for stuff. You could make room for stuff by getting rid of a few items in your home you don't need anymore. Uh, there's a lot of folks having yard sales right now. They're getting rid of stuff, and they're getting rid of stuff. They're making room for new stuff. That also goes with prepper related items. If you've been prepping for a while and you need to go through your stuff, when you're doing your list, check to see what you need to get rid of because there's probably a lot of items that you need to toss. So keep that in mind when you're doing your list. Don't hold on to something just because this goes back to sickness and health. You don't hold on to something just because you say, well, you know what? I think I might need. Don't be a pack rat. Okay, don't be a pack, especially when it comes to food. Some food, if it's expired, it's expired. You know what I mean? You need to keep that in mind. You need to make sure you probably need to toss that. You probably need to toss that because it's probably bad. If the dates are bad. I've eaten food before that was extremely expired. Some things do not hold. Okay.
Yeah, like like the liquid gold mac and cheese.
Liquid gold mac and cheese
That
did not do
Velveeta
well.
stuff, you can't go
It didn't do well
past really too long of the expiration date. We held
because
it for a year,
it
and
was
then the
funky.
cheese was like orange
It was funky. That
brown.
also goes with now you can't sit there and say all pasta will last forever. I could say I'm not going to generalize on pasta because pasta does not last forever. That goes with top ramen. Top ramen expires, it expires, it goes really bad, and it goes so bad that it just turns to freaking mush. It doesn't even cook right. It just falls apart and everything. It doesn't even taste right if you keep it for too many years. It's only its expiration date's only like 11 or 12 months, something like that. And most folks will
Ridiculous.
keep top ramen for years. I
Yeah.
usually keep top ramen for years, and it's still good.
Yeah.
But I've seen top ramen go bad. But one example of a pasta that goes bad that's awful is freaking egg noodle.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Egg noodle goes bad so freaking fast. You cannot keep it for more than a year. That stuff goes so bad. It'll turn into a paste. It gets sticky, turns into a big lump, and that's all it is. So you keep that stuff in mind. It doesn't even matter. If you keep that stuff super double sealed, it does not matter. Even if you vacuum seal that trash, it still goes bad. I've tried everything to keep egg noodles, and it's just impossible to keep it for a long period of time. So out with the old crap. Just toss it. You know what I mean? And uh, you want me to cover another one?
Oh.
What's another good one you want me to talk about? I
Well.
talk about get home bags all the time. I talk about evacuation kits all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about basic water storage all the time. Uh, uh, how many of you want to talk about talking to your immediate family? What? How many of you are having a hard time about talking to your immediate family? I definitely not now, right? I don't think any of you are having a hard time talking to your immediate family about prepping. I don't think that's a problem anymore, right? I think everybody's got that one covered.
Yeah.
Everyone's sort of
Mental
listening.
health is really bad
Yeah.
lately. They don't cover about the senior citizens depression going high where they're on food strikes and they basically failure to thrive sets in and they just die.
I know I've covered a topic before about special needs considerations for children and pets. I've covered it before. I've done videos on children and pets before. I don't think I've really made those public, but I do think that some folks need to keep that in the back of their head when they're doing these preps because that goes back to our food storage, how we
Hey,
keep.
Craig.
Um, I've shown before. I know I've shown you guys before. I did bucket storage for pets. I did bucket storage for dog food and cat food as well. And dog food and cat food keep really well, and you can keep a lot of it. That also like we do keep in storage for wintertime. We do a double up on wintertime. We do the 50-pound bags of dog food, multiple bags if we can. We try and get as much dog food as possible just so we can get through the winter without having to
Hey,
worry
Rachel.
about it. And we also do that with the cat food and the rabbits. Rabbits need a lot of food. Trust me. You'd think that tiny little rabbits don't eat very much, but they can go through a 50-pound bag of rabbit food so fast. That goes back to chickens. We don't have very many chickens, and people are tripping out on the outtake of a chicken. And I was explaining to people today. It's like I grabbed a grand total today. I've taken out of that coop. Believe it or not, that was from overnight, maybe
Mm-hmm.
late yesterday till this afternoon. It
Mm-hmm.
was like a grand total of 14 eggs
Yeah.
because you had 7, I had 7.
Mm-hmm.
Altogether, it was 14. Um, we had 14 eggs in a matter of about 24 hours. 24 hours, we had 14 eggs. And now, I mean, we're looking for ways like who needs freaking eggs? Like it's like she's talking to folks she works with,
Mm-hmm.
other nurses and staff. They're gonna bring her freaking egg
Egg
cartons, and
cartons and I'll fill them up.
she's gonna give them some free range chicken, free eggs, and
Oh,
free
and
range.
they're excited. They're brown eggs.
Yeah,
They're
they're the
like,
brown
we're
eggs with
done
the spots all
making
over
brown
them.
eggs. I'm like, yeah.
Some of them have spots, some of them don't. But we
Yeah, it's
have the
funny how they're speckled.
they're
Some
speckled.
are
Yeah,
speckled.
but we have the brown eggs. It's freaking
And I even told him you made that little spray concoction
yep.
of mostly water and dish
Well,
Dawn soap because the Dawn soap will
yeah,
kill the
Dawn
E.
soap.
coli,
Mm-hmm.
and just a little drop of bleach.
Yep. There's
And then we
like
just spray off the chicken poop.
I did like a half a cap of bleach in an well, in one of the spray bottles that's normally used to do house cleaning, like a Lysol container. I just took one of those and did like a half cap of bleach, and then
We got 9 chickens.
I did about a tablespoon of Dawn dishwashing soap, the one that kills the
E. coli.
E.
It's the
coli,
only thing that'll kill E. coli.
and just fill the rest of it up with water and just shake, and then just when you get your eggs, take your egg and then do this number right here and then rinse it off.
Some of those chicken butts are nasty.
They do get
Like,
nasty.
ew, you gotta clean your butt.
You
Girl.
gotta
You got
hurry up
poop
and get
all over that.
the other thing is you have to hurry up and get the eggs out, and that's another thing that most folks don't keep track of. But if you leave them in there, they could start fighting about the coop or the box, the layer box.
And pecking at them.
They'll start pecking at the eggs to move them out of the way, and
Yeah.
that's the problem. Is you've got to hurry up and get those eggs before they freaking before they start pecking at them. Uh, what was the other thing? There's several techniques for long-term storage of eggs. There's so many different techniques for it, and we're going to start on some of that stuff pretty soon. As ideas, there's so many ideas out there for long-term storage of eggs, and we're going to try a few of them just to amuse the and entertain you guys with it. To do some for ourselves. It's kind of like when we did the canning bananas thing. Can you can a banana kind of thing? Well, we're going to do the same kind of thing with eggs. We'll do a few things with some eggs, and it is possible. Everyone else does it, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to
Oh,
epically
that's
fail
good,
it.
Joe.
But it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Do long-term storage. We'll start pickling up some eggs or something. We'll do something like that, just to do some long-term storage of some eggs, and it'd be a good idea to do that. Uh, what was that topic for? But yeah, consideration for them, food for them, and you you've got to keep a stockpile of egg layer feed for them. You've got to do that, because you could be in a situation like right when the pandemic kicked off. Okay, that of all of the from Tractor Supply to all the different farmers marketplaces, the little farmer places, the farmer grain places where you could go and get different things and tools to work on your farm. All those places were sold out of feed. They didn't have any feed because everyone freaked out. It was a total knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't really talked about much because everyone was so focused on toilet paper at that time. No one really noticed that all the feed for cattle, horses, everything, the whole 9 yards, everything to feed everything was just getting scooped up like it was
Yeah,
cool.
the farmers are
Antibiotics, all
getting
that
in a
stuff.
panic.
Yeah, the farmers were in a panic, and because they see it coming and they stockpile, and that usually happens.
Well, that's when it's good when you get these books. They'll tell you where is it like the how to raise chickens and goats, because in there
Interesting.
it tells you how you can make your own food. Like
Yeah.
for egg layers, you can recycle the egg shells, grind them up
Yeah.
into a powder, and there's their calcium, so they
Yeah.
have good solid eggs, along with like your sunflower seeds, corn scratch, bunch of stuff that you can just kind of gather dry ingredients up and store it for a last ditch effort to make your own chicken food.
Another quick thing that I want to discuss. It's sort of going through some list of stuff for those of you that are catching this now. Uh, Look, not everything has to be a ham radio, but communication is a key thing, and it goes with neighbors and everybody else. If for some reason things get things get wild and hairy, and for some reason the grid happens to go down or whatever, if you want to be able to communicate, and it's good to be able to communicate some way, somehow, either on foot, in person, color coding, flags, whatever you can do to communicate with one another, to let each other know you're alive, you're friendly, or whatever. but it doesn't have to be a mag related thing. It doesn't. It could be a special group that's just for your area for an emergency group, but it could be just neighbors, right? You could just be on the same page with your neighbors, and you could live, a few acres apart, like us. We live quite a few acres apart from our neighbors, and it's good to if you can communicate and get on the same page with some type of flag signals and stuff like that. If you can't communicate by radio for whatever reason, you can use a color code system. There's a color code system for communications to let people know that it's safe, it's unsafe. You know what I mean? You can do different flags. That's right. But you can do different flags for that sort of thing. And but there are color codes to let people know that everything's all right at this location. You could do that for neighbors and such. The other thing is, don't underestimate the power of a two-way radio. Two-way radios are great. You don't. I know a lot of folks get really they get really anxious. They get really what is it? Crap. I'm looking for the
I
words.
feel like I'm on a game show host. Okay,
No,
I'm
it's
on a
all
game
right.
show. So
It's
we're
all
like
right.
playing the pyramid. Okay,
No,
not anxiety.
it
Is
could be an
it
anxiety. It could be worked up. It's
nervous?
just I know a lot.
Tension,
No,
strain.
woman.
What's
Stop.
the word? What is it?
I'm just talking about different types of stuff. There's different things out there, like for ham radio license and stuff like that. It's like a lot of folks get a little bit worked up over certain things where they think they've got to have that or
Yes.
the other thing. And all of our vehicles have CB radios. It's just another good example. What should I share with them that they need to know? And I think they need to know that I keep freaking CB radios all over the place. I have handheld CB radios.
Yeah.
I have radios in all of our vehicles, and I still turn those suckers on and listen and communicate. And I was laughing today at this deer. Well, okay, I'm going down the road. I just said, you know what? Why is all the traffic stopped? Well, I think I'm going to turn my radio on. I was like, CB's on. I have big, huge, fat antenna. I did the low key version where I could actually wire it through the firewall and
Costco
everything else.
pizza.
And I've got it mounted to the hood and everything. So I was like, well, I want to fire this baby up. I'm going to see what I can hear today. And I was like, all right, crank it up. And see, I can pick up the no radio state weather. I can pick up weather and everything else off that sucker. But not just that, but I just tuned into 19. And I was like, what's going on? What are they talking about? And what mile marker is this going to stop at? And that kind of jazz. So I just turned it on. I just listen to truckers talk. It just starts cracking me up. And well, it looks like somebody ran off in the woods there. And it said, some jackwagon probably killed Bambi, and now some tree huggers out there trying to give it mouth to mouth to bring it back to life. That's
Yeah.
what we're all waiting on right now, and it's like, oh man, I just had to turn the radio on. It's like the kids are back there like, they killed Bambi. It's like, I don't know, kid. I'm turning the radio off. I don't know what's going on. Don't listen to them. Yeah, we got to play jokes on our kids. Like, we got to put chicken eggs inside the bunny coop and stuff like that. Just, oh my goodness, they laid eggs. They're Easter eggs. Yep, they are.
Who's kissing a deer?
Who's kissing a deer? You got to have all kinds of fun around here. You
Yeah.
just, it's got to be entertaining. The goats, you got to make jokes, say that goats lay eggs. You got to tell them that you can get milk from squirrels. You got to tell them that the Cheerios are donut seeds. You got to have all kinds of fun with your kids. That's what it's all about, being a parent anyway. And kids are not a burden. They make you laugh. I'm telling you. I don't know who would say such a thing.
People who don't have kids.
But yeah, but don't underestimate the power of two-way radios, CB radios. Don't ditch that stuff because this stuff still works. There's people still on them. They're still talking. They don't talk as much, but they still talk. You just got to find that frequency that they're on. Okay, you just got to toy with it and take your time, be patient. Do you want to do your topic now?
I can.
I mean, I got more. I could just keep going. If you get done with yours, you want me to jump back over and start
Yeah.
talking about some more stuff, I can.
We can do that.
All right.
Well, I'm running out of worms, people. I'm sorry. I can't, I'm running out of parasitic worms to talk about. I think I've covered like
But
99% of.
I think you have some good advice because
But
a lot of folks are losing track of the small stuff, but or the medium stuff or the big
yeah,
stuff because of all the stuff going on. I think people are losing track or losing sight of
yeah.
what they need to.
Well, I mean, we're coming upon winter and it's the cold and flu
Just tell
season.
them about people freaking out. Well, people were okay. People were looking at us like we had two heads because well, our son started coughing and well, he's got a cold. He's got the sniffles and it's partly allergies. It's not any kind of COVID stuff. But I tell you what, if you're out in public now and you start coughing, everybody starts like scooting away, staring at you all crazy. Is your kid gonna be all right? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Like,
Should you be here?
should you be here right now? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I think we're losing sight of all the other bad stuff. I think we're worried about one thing, but we're not worried about all the other stuff you can catch along the way.
Oh, yeah.
we're losing sight of all this other stuff. It's like and everything's COVID now. It's like, oh, broke leg, you got COVID. It's
Yeah.
like sore throat.
Oh,
COVID.
he didn't die from that decapitation. It was
No,
COVID.
his head fell off. No, that's
Nope,
COVID.
that was COVID.
It's like a heart attack. He's dying of a heart attack. No, he's got
COVID
COVID.
killed him.
It's in his lungs. I'm telling you, it's not his heart.
Oh, you got chest pain? No, you're not. You don't have a heart attack. You got COVID.
Everything's freaking COVID.
Let me shove a tube down your
You
throat
got-
and intubate you. Now.
You got high blood pressure. That's COVID. You got high gas prices. That's COVID. I'm telling you, everything's COVID. I tell you, you blame it on the COVID.
No,
That's the reason for those high lumber prices today at Lowe's. $7 for a 2x4. That's because of COVID. Those trees caught COVID. The highway had COVID. That's the reason why I was slowing down.
We were congested with COVID people.
But yeah, you've got some good points. I think should be shared.
Yeah, it's not everything. It's freaking COVID.
You got to share.
We're hitting upon the seasons of cold viruses and flu viruses. So just I'm just gonna go over a couple of things.
There's gonna be a lot of folks getting sick.
Out.
There's gonna be a lot of folks getting sick.
Boy, I wish. That's not the case in our hospitals. We're like jam packed with all sorts of craziness. But anyways. So, sputum. Let's talk about loogies.
Loogies.
Yes. They can tell you a lot. That's for sure, even though that's kind of like my weakness. I can handle a lot of things, let me tell you, but when I hear or see sputum oozing out of like a trach, like Slimer, and it's like, I'm like, I can't do it. I gotta go. I don't care if you can't breathe. I gotta go. I need a nurse. Somebody suction up person. I can't handle the sputum.
Oh man.
I'm like throwing up in the next room. I can't handle sputum. Oh gosh, no, I can't. But anyways, so
there's some things I see that make me go ew. I think that'd be one of them.
Yeah, it's not. I could never be a respiratory tech.
Ew.
Ever. I tip my hat off to those people. I can do it because I'm just like, ugh. Anyways. But, the color and the consistency of your sputum can tell you sometimes what could be going on in your lungs. So, no new cool PPE. No, it all sucks. We got these fancy little stupid goggles that fog up when you put them on because you wear your mask and it pushes your breath up in your face. I'm like, oh, let me start an IV. It's stupid. You got your little infectious disease people creeping around.
They gotta wrap them up. They gotta wrap them up in like 9 different layers of stuff just to be there.
Yeah, it's not cool. It sucks.
You gotta be burning up in that stuff. You must be happy it's turning
hot.
winter.
It's very hot and wearing full gowns that are scratchy like sandpaper now. They're going cheaper on the gowns, which sucks. So that's.
I couldn't imagine 12 hours of that trash.
Yeah, your face just breaks down. Sucks your soul.
Sucks your soul. It's like me driving your car. It sucks the soul out of me. I can't do this. I can't do it. I need oxygen.
Yes.
I can't breathe.
So, it's good. You need to know, especially if you're stuck and you can't get any help, and but you have your antibiotic supply, right? You're
Yeah.
prepared, but there's the question, should you use it or should you not use it? So people tend to want to always rush towards the antibiotics when they're sick and they feel like they're dying. When really, if it's a virus, it's not going to touch it. You burn through your antibiotics, and now you're just kicking
It's not
yourself
doing
in the
anything
butt.
for it.
So, viruses tend to die off on the 10th day. It's usually about a 3 to 10 day process for most viruses. So, if you're still having that fever, that sore throat, your symptoms aren't just going away, chances are you got a bacterial infection, and then I would go to antibiotics, especially if you got the broad spectrums like the penicillins and stuff. So if you have a good amount of the thick yellow, green, or rust color, or if you have a change in the color of your sputum, it's a common sign of a bacterial infection. So, because usually what's going on in your lungs is you got like some little microbes going around throwing a party, and you have your immune system killing it off, and they're disposing of the bodies in your lungs, and you got to huck all those little bodies out. So that's why you're coughing up all that crap. You're
It's
getting rid of
crazy.
all
You
that
can tell so much from sputum.
from sputum.
It's crazy.
Yep, the good old sputum. So chances
I'm gonna have to
are,
have you look at my sputum sometime.
no, I'll throw up on you. If you want to get
I'm just
puked on,
messing
you
with
can do
you.
that. I will not dissect it with my little scalpel. No.
I'm just playing with you, girl.
No. No.
Hmm.
But so yeah, but like I said, sometimes these bacterial infections could be minor, and your immune system can fight them off. But if it's longer than 10 days, then that's when we turn to unless it's serious, unless you're pretty much dying in the hospital, they'll just do antibiotics anyways, just to try and beat it. But this is just
you're probably
for the
talking
most
about
part.
fish antibiotics. That if you go to, I'll say this, and you don't have to say anything.
Or
about
if you
this.
have leftover antibiotics from whatever, good
well,
for a year.
I just figured I'd just share my input. It's just me. It's me talking now. I'm taking over this part. Well, this part.
He can't go without talking for like
just
2 minutes.
this part
He's just
for
got
legal.
to...
I said for legal purposes, I'm taking over this part.
Okay.
For this part, if you just another prepper talking to another prepper. If you go to Tractor Supply or Royal King or one of these places out there, if you look in the section where they've got, I know in some sections like where they keep the rabbit stuff and everything else, and dog food and all other trash. If you go sniffing around in those areas, you'll start seeing the sections where they actually have the legit fish antibiotics, and they've got like every flavor there is. And I've shown before, I think I've shown before in videos where explaining, you can just go right up into freaking Tractor Supply and grab that stuff. But now just be aware that not all of them have it, because they run out of that trash. But anyways, if you're playing around with stuff like that, you probably should pick up that Alton's antibiotics book. You should probably pick that book up from Dr. Bones' website or something like that. You should probably go there and check it out. See if you can't grab that, because it's got a lot of detailed information. He gives out a lot of information on. It's not Dr. Bones' medical book. Just keep that in mind. It's that Alton's book. You got to get that one for antibiotics. But it covers everything. Like if they're running a fever or this and that, yada yada yada. They're spurting blood, and they go through all these little details of you should probably do this, this, and this. So it just has all that stuff in it.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
I hope you're surviving the West Coast.
Boom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
appreciate you, buddy. So if the mucus is thin, it's usually a viral indication of bronchitis, where it's just your bronchioles down here are just getting really inflamed. And the best thing that I've seen treated is a type of steroid like prednisone, or we'll do like solumeterol in the hospitals. Or albuterol. A lot of people go in for breathing treatments and they feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if it's a pink tinge sputum, that could be a sign of a lung tumor. I mean, it has to be like in the mucus, not like I brush my teeth and then I spit and no, there's blood. I got a tumor. No, it's got to be inside that spit, that loogie.
Hmm.
If it's foul smelling sputum and bad breath, that could be that there's a pus pocket in your lung or another organism that requires anything else but air to survive.
Dog, you ain't gonna live very long.
So,
You got some bad breath, dog.
but there's other things that can
He's got some
cause bad breath that I'll talk about here in a minute. But usually I mean, it's like death. It's like pus pockets.
cavities.
Yeah, tooth abscessed. Now if you have frothy pink sputum and you're having a hard time breathing, you better call 911 because you're drowning in your own lung system. That's a very dire indicative impending doom right there if you don't get help soon, because basically your heart is not pumping right between your lungs and the heart. It's just you're starting to drown. It's not good.
I still remember when we had no impact, no idea what it was. It was like sinuses or something going on with me. It was no impact, no idea from the doctors, everybody, and they just threw antibiotics at me, and I recovered. Yeah, and a steroid, and I recovered.
Yeah.
But
That was
that was
irritating.
so freaking weird, man. Like, you get
Yeah.
these situations where your throat's closing up and all this
Yeah.
stuff. You better call 911 because in most cases, even the doctor has trouble figuring that trash out. Yeah, it's just from my own experience.
Yep. And then now we'll move on to common cold. So people just don't freak out because
Yeah, common cold.
you have low grade fever, usually
Yep.
99 to 100. You consider that more of the lower end. Congestions like runny nose, sneezing, sore throat, headache, muscle aches, chills, tired. Usually these should only last 1 to 2 weeks.
And Charlie had all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had every bit of those. My boy had all that stuff. My boy, he had all that stuff.
And there's like over 350 different type of cold viruses. So, yeah, usually by the time your body's immune system can recognize the cold viruses, but when they're different, it takes it a little while. But you'll never catch the same cold twice until it's like 5 years later, and the body's forgotten it. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, what?
That was another good example you gave me when it comes to taking care of the kids every day. It's the well, you can't catch the same cold twice, and it's like, really? It's like, because I wasn't aware of that. I'm like, man, these kids are gonna get me sick again, and it's like, don't worry, you can't get the same
Cold
twice. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank goodness. It's like, go good, because I'm over it, and I don't want to get sick again, and I'm taking care of everybody else, and they're all sick, and it's like, okay, now everybody starts getting better. So it's
Yes.
good to know.
Thank you, Zach.
Boom!
Woo! Boom, boom, boom. Appreciate you.
Boom! Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Boom, boom, boom.
So, treatment, common cold, just rest, drink your fluids, try to not get too stressed, do your warm salt gargles with your sore throat. Or like me, I just kind of like to drink hot cocoa or tea or.
That throat spray works really nice.
The
throat irritations.
Yeah, the
and itchy throat.
chlorhexidine. It doesn't last too long, but it is nice when it hurts really, really bad. And then of course things like the NSAIDs, like aspirin or ibuprofen, really help with that one. Tylenol's good for pain and fever, but when it comes to that kind of inflammation, ibuprofen's really good.
I could use some NyQuil. I tell you, I have trouble sleeping. It's bad. I wake up freaking 3 in the morning every day. I lose a lot of sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. So if you're having an infection and it's not going away, It's been like 2 weeks.
That's
Usually,
true.
usually, yeah, they use that for pregnant women. Get that baby out. Um,
Robitussin for broken legs.
the number one thing I see a lot is amoxicillin or levofloxacillin. Levaquin is a
Levaquin.
big one I see for people that have pneumonias.
Hmm.
So that's or
Oof.
doxycycline.
You gotta be careful with that pneumonia stuff. You end up in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital quick.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to
Oh,
pharyngitis. What?
uh,
Oh, ZQ
ZQ
Spider! Long time
spider.
no see. Thank you. Appreciate you, buddy.
Boom! And that one just popped out of nowhere. Boom! It's like there was nothing. There was nothing. And then I'm like, whoa! It was like right in the middle.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. So pharyngitis, it's just more in the upper throat.
Mm.
It could be extremely red throat, and that's where you can get things like strep throat, where it's like that fire hydrant red. Usually you'll see with strep though, it's the white patches and bad breath because. Like we said before, Boo Boo Bear, she had strep throat for a long time, but the only sign she had was bad breath.
Bad breath.
I was like, girl, you've been
I was like,
munching
yeah,
on some
no kidding.
dead carcasses.
I didn't know what was wrong with
Holy
that
cow.
kid.
Yeah.
And she had strep throat forever.
Yeah, and then she got Ellie sick, and Ellie had that bright red. She was drooling a lot. She was crying, and
oh man, we had such a spell during that whole situation. Wasn't that when we they gave her antibiotics, but they gave her the other one, and that she had to be on the other one?
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
Appreciate you very much. Yeah, and that's when the doctor, because Drew was at like 5 or something, and I was like, can we test her, please? And he's like, well, she's at the age where she shouldn't really get it. I'm like, we need to test her. And yes, she had
yeah,
it.
no kidding.
Because if you got that bacterial buildup, it can travel down to your kidneys, to your heart. Strep throat is no joke. I know I've said
and it was
that before,
crazy because we went to this. We had this daycare center that we had to drop the kids off at, and every time we dropped them off there, the kids would come home with strep and everything.
Yeah.
That they don't clean any of that stuff. So
there's too many
kids,
toys.
there's too many toys, and they keep putting them in their mouths and stuff. So the kids kept getting sick from that trash. But we stopped doing that. We stopped having to go to the doctor. It was crazy.
Yep. So fever of 101 or higher, swollen lymph nodes, like right here, you can feel them on either side. Cough or no cough and some nausea. Usually that virus should last 3 to 10 days, but if it's strep throat, they get it from the streptococcus bacteria. It's bacteria. It's not going to go away, so you have to get that treated. Usually amoxicillin is the number one choice, but since we found out the hard way through poor Ellie Bell,
that doesn't work for every person.
She had to do the doxycycline.
She broke out into hives when she took that.
Everywhere.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
We were totally freaking out at first because she just come outside and she's like, Dad, and she's like raised her shirt up and she's like, look, my belly, and she's like nothing but freaking dots everywhere.
Yeah.
All over her face, her arms.
Yeah.
And man, that's an allergic reaction to something. What's going on here? And man, it was just one dose of the antibiotics that caused that. It was crazy.
Yep. So I mean, that's just
you got to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Common cause of allergic reaction, medicine-wise, is penicillin.
I wouldn't self-diagnose yourself. I'd go see a physician ASAP before you go taking that stuff.
So like I said, penicillin or azithromycin for people who are allergic to penicillin is usually the number one choice of treatment for different, like the pharyngitis and infections in your throat. But azithromycin, that stuff's pretty potent. You only have to take that for typically 3 days because it has a long half-life, and by that it'll stay in your body for a long time. And what I learned in my advanced cardio life saving class is this drug amiodarone that you use during, CPR crisis. Someone's like, that has a life of 6 months. It can stay in your system for 6 months, just one dose of amiodarone. So I just thought that was interesting. I was like, dang, and that stuff, you got to be careful because it can cause some bad
I want
bad
to
reactions.
reply to someone's.
Oh,
They,
go ahead.
someone said that YouTube's censoring their comments and stuff like that, or I'm censoring them or something. But I
Mhm.
couldn't catch the full comment. Just make sure that when you comment, because I just went in there today and started clearing out lost comments, and uh, they start reading them as spam when you put like a period and then you put another word right butted up against it. It starts marking it like it's a website or something. And a lot of the problems with the comments that I was actually clearing out hundreds of today, sitting there just like click, there's nothing wrong with that one. Click, there's nothing wrong with that one. I spend most of my time just trying to clear some of that trash out just so I get back to posting videos. But just pay attention to what you're typing there, and that usually fixes the problem because it's not the words. I don't have any words censored. I was messing with folks one time and I said that I censored the word but, like that's great, but because all those comments, there's a lot of those
Mhm.
comments. I was just messing with folks when I said that I censored the word but because that's not true. But I didn't censor anything. No one's censored and no one's blocked. So just keep that in mind. My YouTube channel to all the other trash is clear. I don't do that trash. It's bad taste, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, don't spread rumors. It's not true. I'm telling you. I'm done.
Mhm. Okay.
I just want to tell people
Okay,
that
that's
you
fine.
got to pay attention to that stuff.
You
It's
do.
not me.
Mhm.
It's what you type. You got
That's
to pay
right.
attention to that. It's not me. I don't do it.
Um, Mr. Rivera, yes, sometimes they have it up to 5 days. It just depends on the intensity of the infection. So typically it's
Mm.
3 days, but I mean, you basically go by that specific doctor and specialist, infectious disease, what they say. It's all about their interpretation of their preference. So dosages are definitely fair game for different doctors. That's typically per medical book 3 days.
That's great, but I got a friend that I'm just messing with you
Yeah.
because of chipper and went but.
Oh,
I told
chipper.
y'all I was just kidding about the whole blocking the word but.
That's right.
I thought it was funny because if you got rid of that, you realize how many comments would disappear.
Yeah.
Because everyone goes but.
But oh, I agree with
You
you
did a
that
great
too.
job in this video, but
But you're
there's
a
too,
butt.
there's too many butts out there.
Mm-hmm. Too many bits.
Everyone's got a butt.
Last but not least, viral laryngitis. Your larynx. I was reading. It said it's very common in winter, and another common cause is like when you're yelling, I guess, or overusing your voice. You can stress your cords out, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely you can get it inflamed and irritated.
You get a
But it's
frog voice.
also, yep, you do, and then it's also easy to transmit.
That's why most drill instructors have frog voices when they talk.
Hey,
It's
Gary.
so scratchy that it just that everyone talks like that. They all sound like that because they use their diaphragm so much
Hmm,
and shout so much that it just sounds like a frog. You sound like a frog.
you're a frog.
You're a frog.
So, signs and symptoms, of course, is loss or hoarse voice, severe cough, throat that feels worse in the morning but improves with warm weather conditions, or it's better when you're in the house than outside.
Mm.
Um, it's a dry cough or a dry sore throat that worsens in the evening, and your uvula, little dangly thing in the back, swells up pretty
Oof,
big.
I hate that.
You have issues
Then you
with
can't
yours.
swallow.
Mm-mm. Yours was like Stretch Armstrong. It was like laying on your tongue. And then it feels like a tickle that's made worse with cold air or liquids. Um, But
That's
usually,
me.
this should end in within about 5 days, and if you got a humidifier, that really helps. And of course, avoid people who smoke or just irritants in the air. So
Which everyone around here smokes.
yeah.
Everywhere I go, it doesn't matter. You,
Oh man, I get people walking by the hospital lobby in the front that are smoking.
they
I'm
got an
just
O2
like,
tank smoking.
oh yeah. I'm like, how's your face still attached?
What are
How
you
have you
doing?
not blown that
You
off?
know that's flammable, right? What are you doing?
Dedication,
Your
man.
face is flammable.
Dedication.
Oh man, people have to cheer up. I guess
Yeah.
I'll leave things on a good note before we get off here. I figured uh, I'll share more of this next week. Are you available next Saturday, or is it
I don't know.
iffy? You don't know.
I gotta look at the
She's
calendar.
been getting called up a lot, and she's been working a lot of hours, and they're shorthanded, and she's filling every single gap that anytime someone says, "Man, we need help," it's like, "Oh, well, I'll come in, I'll help." But it's something that she loves doing it, and she's having fun. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all it's about. And
Yep.
uh, but it's helping
Teamwork.
others as well. And uh, the uh, sometimes availability, for sippy. If not, then if I'm still doing it, I'll just do it myself. And then I don't feel right doing it by myself without sippy with me. That's the only reason why I usually don't do the live streams without sippy, because a live stream isn't the live stream without sippy being with me. It just doesn't make sense.
That's right.
One thing that I've noticed lately is in people, and I've seen it, when I go out because I've got kids with me and stuff. I try to ignore a lot of things out there, but there is a lot of pent up aggression. There is a lot of anxieties floating around. There's a lot of worked up people, and people are snapping, getting in each other's throat. People are driving. People don't drive as much anymore, but the people that are driving crazy. I'm telling you. I think there's just everybody that I know. I think uh, just has to calm down a bit, and and just sort of. I had to go to the VA a few days ago, and I it was aggravating. I hated going this time, and usually when I go on these VA adventures, I share with you guys. I usually take you guys with me, and I do the little, you know, the walking with the pod stick kind of thing, like the selfie stick, doing this number and just talking. And I didn't take anyone with me this time because it's a weird place now. It's not the same
Joe.
veterans hospital as it was before. Everything's changed. I mean, I get to the
Mm-hmm.
gate and you get the whole like, have you been exposed to the COVID-19? Like, take this sticker. Like, what the heck's wrong with you? Do you have a mask? Yeah, I got a whole glove box full of them. What's wrong with you people? And where's my VA hospital again? Because this does not seem like the right place. And you go in, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go check in. I've got the computers social distance because you got to take your ID card and scan it and everything and check in. You go to do that now. They had the computer social distancing to begin with, and then they had one all the way. They used to have like a whole row of them, and you could just walk up. But now they've got two. One's on one end of the building, one's on the other end of the building, and you go up to it to go do your check-in process, and it's got a big, huge banner over the front of it that it's all out of order and you can't use it anymore. And the lady's like, "You're at the wrong place. Flu shots aren't down here until 9 o'clock." I'm like, I said, "I'm not here for a flu shot, lady. I'm here to use those computers over there so I can check in for my appointment." And she's like, "Well, work anymore. Due to COVID-19, we shut them all down because everybody gets sick, touch them." And I'm like, "What?" It's I was like, you mean the computers got sick? Y'all got them social distancing, so they should be all right. And it's like, that's kind of like the other day. Here's another example of this, real quick, before I talk about this further. But I went to go out to eat today to get a cheeseburger, and I'm not going to say where, but I went somewhere to get a cheeseburger, and the lady said, for me to use the card reader or whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not
you
going
were
to go
gonna
into.
hand her the
I
card.
was going to hand her the card. I'm not going into details of the goofiness, but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I was going to hand her the card. She's like, nope, nope, I ain't touching that. And she pulls out a card reader. It's like, what are we doing here? She's like, there you go, take it. Huh? Am I supposed to take this from you? No, don't touch it. And I'm like, what am I doing? And she's like, here. And I'm like, okay, give it here. No, you can't have it. What are we doing? She's like, insert your card, please. I'm like, okay. And she's like, uh, you're good. You can remove it now. Okay. I got my card back.
She said.
And she's over here like, she said, what? What?
She,
Go ahead.
she said you could pull it out now.
It's so awful. Stop it,
I'm
Zippy.
like,
Stop it, Zippy.
okay.
Stop it. Stop it right now. She has to go on about this stuff. She's just laughing. But she's over here patting me. She said, people don't touch cards anymore. You can't hand people your card anymore. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, that's what's going on now. And
But yeah, the same thing happened to me the first time I did. They're like, here, and I'm like,
what am I doing with this thing? But
okay.
she goes to hand me my receipt, and she has it in her hand. She rips the seat out, goes to hand me the receipt. She's handing it over to me, and I was like, I ain't touching that. I just messed with it, but I ain't touching that. Well, you're gonna have to because it's yours. I don't want it. You already touched it. I don't want it now. And so you wouldn't take my card. I'm definitely not taking that receipt. She said, well, it's yours. And so you gonna take it or not? And I'm like, oh, give it here. It's like, you guys are crazy. But anyways, apparently the computers at the VA hospital caught COVID-19 and died. So the computers don't work there anymore due to COVID-19 is what they put on them. And I'm like, oh great. Even social distancing, they did not survive. But they've got all the freaking seats in the VA hospital. Like every few, there's like a space between, like a sticker. They've shoved stickers. You can't even Google sticker anymore. Like, I just want a sticker for the back of my truck that says "Leave me alone," and you can't. You find one that says "Leave." You could type in Google search "Leave me alone" sticker, and it says social distancing 6 feet sticker. You stick on the floor. I'm like, what? Anyways, but you can't look up any of that trash anymore because you start finding stuff for that. But they've got everybody social distance in that building, and you. It's the weirdest situation now. You can't even go in the waiting room. Nothing's normal anymore. It's like, but there's no social distancing in the elevators.
I do some bleach.
So if you go in the elevator, you still have to sit next to Rick and Tommy over here. You know, the plumbers that are going upstairs. So you're still all together.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There's no social distancing for that. There's no one sitting there. But there's hallway monitors for so many things. But the elevators, you can fit like 15 people in there. Go for it. You know, but we're social distancing in all these other places. It didn't make any sense to me. So some of this stuff, I start scratching my head and I go, what? Y'all do realize there's like 15 people coming out of that elevator, but y'all got stickers on every one of these seats saying I can't sit by Billy and Jimmy over here because, you know, we're social distancing. Didn't make any sense to me. I'm just saying. Because some of this stuff doesn't make any sense. But I go up there and she's the ladies. The lady's telling me that you know, a lot of folks are having problems with their anxieties and stuff like that, and there's a lot of different situations out there, and I needed to go that to deal with these problems. They've pretty much been telling people to go find their power animal and turn the lights off, close your eyes, and you know, just weird stuff like. I gotta find my chi. I gotta meditate. I gotta take meditation classes or something to calm down a bit because I'm just a little too stressed out because of all the COVID stuff. You just need to accept it, homie. You're gonna have to accept it. This is your life.
No,
now.
no. It's face it.
Face it.
You have to wear your mask.
It's
face it.
Everywhere I go. It's
I
like
would have punched that person in the face, whoever came up with that slogan.
oh, well, there's just a lot of things out there that don't make any sense. But I just want to say that because the VA hospital is not the same anymore. It's
Face
weird.
it, man.
And a lot of folks are saying, well, we don't go anywhere to the hospitals. We don't go. A lot of folks are saying they don't go to the hospitals. They don't go to the VA hospitals. They don't go to any of that trash anymore because the environment
Woosah.
has the
That's
environment has
right.
turned
Woosah.
the environment has turned so freaking crazy that you can't even go there anymore. Everyone's just freaking out over everything. It's like you standing too close to somebody, or they all just start staring at you all weird, and it's gotten really wacky. They've shut down doors and exits and all kinds of stuff. Like they're back there in the back.
Oh
You
yeah.
can't even do your travel claim. Like I'm over here doing a travel claim. Yeah, I traveled a long way to get here, and I just want to fill this out. And uh, I usually like they even were complaining to me about using that. They were like, "You need to come to this window every time you come in here." Now that COVID-19 has struck the world, they're like, "Don't you come over here. You better stay away from my get away from my window. 6 foot distance. Stay away." And I'm like, "Y'all were just yelling at me like 3 months ago that I needed to come to this window every time to make sure that I filled out my travel claim before I left this place. You better come over here because we can do that verbally. You don't need to write it on a piece of paper. Now it's just paper only. Like I got to go over here. Y'all know you're going to be touching this.
Yeah.
Y'all know where I've been. You know where I've been. All right, there's your slip. I'm out. But anyway, but yeah, it's it's crazy out there, folks. I'm just we're all living it together,
Yeah.
and hopefully it doesn't get any more psychotic than it already is, and hopefully somebody figures out something. I was telling the wife today, I said, wouldn't you want to be the one to be the cure, to find the cure? Like there should be somebody staying up late at night every single night. It's just like car manufacturers trying to figure out how to put a louder stereo in a car. Like if you can figure out trash like that, you can figure out other things. You know what I mean? There should be somebody staying up long hours at night, drinking a lot of freaking coffee and working their butt off to figure out how to fix this problem instead of coming out with band-aids like mask and other silliness, other nonsense and 6 foot distance and
Yeah,
crap.
it's just something that's gonna be around, like the flu. Get over it, people. Herd
Well, it's
immunity.
not the
Blah blah
flu though,
blah.
because
It's a virus, though. You
everybody will
can't.
freak out.
You
They'll,
can't
no,
cure.
you can't say it's the flu.
You can't cure virus.
Yeah,
So
you can't
you're
cure a
just gonna
virus.
have to deal with it, people.
That's what we were saying in the beginning. In the very beginning of all this stuff, it's like everybody's trying to find these cures, but there's no cure for it because it's a virus. You can't find a cure for a virus. But somebody probably will. And wouldn't you want to be the guy or gal that did? You'd be the most famous dude or gal on the planet, dude or chick on the planet, if you found.
I think the
this-
government would take you out.
They take you out,
They wouldn't want you to find a cure.
just like they.
Just like cancer, they take you out. There's too much money in it.
I still think the deal with the president's a conspiracy. I think it is.
They said that he's actually going to take experimental drugs.
I think
I
it's.
find that hard to believe.
I think it is a conspiracy. I'm telling you
I
something.
just
This
don't
is an
believe
X file.
anything.
This is a total freaking X file. I'm telling you right
It is
now.
an X-file.
Those secret government men, that the same ones that took out JFK, are in the darkness, the shadow government. They are in the middle of all this. I'm telling you right now. It is some weird, wacky stuff going on. And we just have to wait to
That's
see
right, trust
what
no one.
happens. Trust no
The truth
one.
is out there somewhere.
Our kids freaking love the X Files.
They don't
We
watch
don't let-
all the. No,
they don't
just-
watch all the
just
episodes.
Some.
Just the funny ones, the ones where there's a lot of comedy, especially there was one episode where they did this stereotypical alien scene and stuff. Remember that one?
Yeah.
It was all a joke.
Yeah.
Well,
It was-
we let them watch. We let them
Yeah.
watch stuff like that, or the silly ones that never really reveal anything. Those are the ones we let them watch.
Yeah.
If we know it's not going to be a bad one.
Well, I've seen those seasons like 5 times. So
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, they can't watch this one.
Yeah,
Go back,
we
kids.
skipped through those.
Nope, you can't watch this one when you're a little older.
We have like everything X Files except for one disc.
Yeah.
There's like one disc that we don't have.
One
and it's
movie.
One movie.
One of the movies.
Because there's 2 movies.
Because it's like $50. So I'm just like, why is it 50?
Yeah, that's the only
But
one we don't
anyways,
have.
We're rambling on.
But anyways.
Lizard people.
But it's good to ramble
It
because
is.
other folks can relate. There's other folks out there that relate to that stuff. because I know a lot of you guys and gals that are sitting at home that could possibly be, working from home and stuff like that, and this is your social environment. You're chilling in a live stream. That is your social environment. And a lot of folks, this is their social environment, and also this is
Action. That's
this
funny.
is this is also like you do what I do. I mean, your collection of movies, you look for every single discounted DVD you can find. I've got my kids watching Grit TV and stuff like that. I hooked up the antenna to the TV, and I
Me
pick up.
TV.
Yeah, there's Grit.
Yeah,
Grit's
that's right.
got the
West.
cowboy stuff, the
Yeah.
old westerns and stuff. Well, I picked up an antenna for like $5, and I jacked it into the TV, and the kids are like, "What are you doing, Dad?" I'm like over here like antennas and stuff and messing with things, and it's like, "What's that big pole in the backyard? Y'all gonna find out real soon. We're gonna have some TV up in here." And next thing you know, I'm picking up a few stations,
You're gonna
and
have the kids holding on to the pole up too low to the right.
nope, a little bit to the right.
Stay right
Nope,
there.
right, that's the spot. All
Don't
right,
you move.
boo, get the duct tape. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
add more aluminum foil. But anyway, so we started picking up a few of these old stations, and it was one of them was like Grit, and we had some Me TV and stuff like that. But it's all old
The
TV shows,
password.
and the kids love that stuff, man. Now they're obsessed with the Three Stooges. You can put on freaking Three Stooges, and the kids will watch that stuff forever if you let them. But they love that stuff. The old
Yeah.
school stuff is the best. But yeah, you make sure you collect that stuff as well. That also goes in your prepping things for entertainment, because
Yeah.
there might come a time where you just you know you've got a solar panel and some battery packs and an old TV, and you plug that sucker in. You pull out some classic DVDs, whatever you got on hand to entertain your kids for a while you fix a fence or something. See what I mean? These things are very useful, not just board games, not just board games and collecting candles, but just keep that stuff in mind. Uh, there's, I know we get too comfortable with putting our kids online, and a lot of folks do, and I know a lot of teachers are very comfortable with kids getting online and doing all this stuff, and we've seen some negative effects of that. And there's a lot more bullying now than before. And you just sometimes you got to unplug. You got to unplug your kids, and you got to give them the old school techniques. Tonight we're going to play a board game. It's Monopoly.
But dude, I feel kind of like in our group or our prepper family here, I feel like everybody's kind of more the old spirit
Yeah,
type
yeah.
than
But
the new age.
it's good to explain that stuff to
People.
folks that don't get it though.
Yeah.
That don't get it. Uh, you gotta unplug them. You gotta show them the old school ways, because that type of entertainment will carry on for years to come. Because years from now, they're going to get older and be like, "Man, what was the game we used to play back in the day? It was Super Mario Brothers or something, right?" You'd say something like that, but it what's an old school game that we used to play? Checkers, or we'd play Monopoly, or
Hopscotch.
we'd play like an old school board game. We'd play like
Mm-hmm.
the Game of Life or something, right? There's a lot of those board games that just get forgotten, because everyone's got their little computer gizmos and stuff that they play with, or the little app on their phone or something. They play solitaire on their phone. It's like you show them the old school way of playing solitaire, or let's play a game of spades today. Let's play 21 or something. Something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Hey kids, let's play pickup 54,
Yep.
52 pickup or whatever it was. Except let's apply that to the house and your toys.
Yep.
Let's
But
play
it's
52 toy pickup.
or heck, just playing some dominoes or something, right? But anyways, all right. Old school, right?
Yeah. I think Wes S and Rob are gonna do a duo after
Okay.
show.
Just is it going to be on Wes S's,
think-
or is it going to be on
I
Rob's?
think it's on Wes S's.
Okay. All right. So if you guys click on Wes S right now and swing on over to his channel, he's going to do a little after play. So just jump over there and keep the conversations you guys are having going.
Hmm.
All right. I guess I've got nothing else. Thank you guys and
Yep.
gals for coming and hanging out with us.
Yep. Thank you.
Hang in there. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you guys and gals again. And we love you.
God bless.
And God bless.
Stay sane.
Definitely stay sane and take care.
Don't drink.
Stay. There's a lot of people doing that
There's a
stuff.
lot
That's
of people
crazy.
drinking, falling and hitting their heads, and ended up in the ER.
She's telling me
So,
all kinds of crazy stuff going on at the I'm like, what has happened to everyone?
there's a lot of
Be aware and use that
drinkers. Yes.
situational awareness too, because today
Be careful.
I'm supposed to get off here right now, but I want to tell you, I was at the auto parts store picking up some parts, and there was a. I walked out. I open carry. I walked up to the counter. I'm like, yeah, I need this, this, and this. And the lady, and it's like, yes, sir. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get that for you. She leans forward. She's like, Mister, that guy is drunk. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? He's not all there, and he's gonna fall down here in a minute. And I'm by myself. I'm like, lady, I can't stay here because my wife and kids are in the car. You're gonna have to dial 911 if he gets too crazy. I can't stay here all day.
Get that tire iron.
But
You're in an auto parts
people
store.
people are doing things they would not normally do.
Yep.
I'm just throwing it out there, so be aware.
Yep.
Situational awareness. People are doing a lot of things they don't normally do. All right. All right. God bless you guys again, and thank you guys again for coming and hanging out
Yep.
with us. Go check West S out. All right.